It's day 3 of our emergency foundation repair, and Alex and Frankie decide to divide and conquer. While Alex focuses on correcting the grades outside of the building, Frankie's got bigger problems still going on in the corner. Alex has a lot of work to do to cut the grades down enough to get all of the water to run away from the buildings. The back wall has been pushed out and straightened, but this corner still needs a lot of work.
Oh, this corner is in such bad shape.
Frankie's got to get this put back together before it can be backfilled, and Alex is already working on getting those grades fixed. So Frankie wants to get this done and fast.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, you're good. Oh, this one's all opened up too.
Yeah.
Oh, you can see through.
This way we can take this out and it won't look so bad.
Yeah.
Like there's a jog sitting in out of it.
He's going to clean up that piece of stucco and save it for later.
What are you working on over here, Frankie?
Try to push this bottom block in so we can core fill it, then it'll stay. Hopefully.
Yeah.
This block is on the bottom and in the very corner, just in a spot where our heavy equipment can't reach. But Frankie still wants to get it pushed back in place, so he gets creative.
I wonder if I can get a socket
yeah,
on
I was
that.
gonna say, you want to pull that handle out of there, and I'll grab my.
How do you
impact.
pull the handle? Don't come out. They got the.
Oh, they got the
metal.
stopper on it.
But I think I can get it just on there enough to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I can get it on there just enough. I'm gonna keep going with this until, whatever. I think it's probably what got to be 3/4 or.
I'll just grab my kit.
Oh, okay.
To get the socket to fit, Frankie has to make a slight modification to the jack. I didn't need a jack in my truck anyway. It's a Dodge. It'll never have a problem.
I'm grinding that little handle off there so we can get the socket all the way on the end there.
Frankie's just got to get that bottom block to go in a few inches.
It's just pushing that board right on in there.
It's the bank, yeah. But it's actually moved a little though.
Yeah, no, that block's moving a little bit.
With the block pushed into his satisfaction, he's going to start the tuck pointing. Except this really isn't tuck pointing, this is just mudding the entire wall.
It looks pretty good for not being a mud guy, Frankie.
Well, this is, yeah, and this side doesn't have to look pretty at all.
Just take the compliment, dude.
Now the best way to fix this foundation wall would have been to jack the building up, tear out the garage foundation, build a brand new garage foundation, and then set the building back down on top of it. Problem is, not everybody wants to spend that kind of money on an old garage. Sometimes they just want a few extra years out of it, and that's what we're doing with this one. So Frankie seals up the foundation wall, then he's going to tar paper it, and then backfill it. And that backfill will be extended to both ends of the garage, allowing the water to drain out through gravity on each end of the garage wall.
Okay.
Although structurally it's not necessary, Frankie wants to put that piece of stucco that he saved back on just for aesthetics. So he butters the backside of it and butters the wall to get a better stick between the two.
There, I don't know if we can get.
The outside patched up, Franky can start working on the inside, allowing Alex to finish the backfilling outside. Before the 1.5-inch sewer rock goes in, felt needs to be cut around the obstacles and put in place.
Get out of here.
With a tight squeeze between the two buildings and the eaves overhanging, everything has to be done by hand. The mini excavator won't fit. So the wheelbarrows start coming in and they don't stop until the footing is full. This corner and back wall is kind of a mystery, so Franky and I try to figure out what happened with it.
And then I'm just gonna mud it.
Did this get pushed in? Or
I don't know if this whole wall got pushed in that far, or because this didn't get pushed out.
It's doing that over there too. Same thing.
You look right here, this mud joint is broke. That means this whole wall has shifted in. So this entire thing is equally pushed in. When that pushed in, then this framing should have pushed with it.
But it didn't. It didn't. Because if
you take a look at this, you can see this wall's totally perfectly.
Well, not quite, but it's close.
It's pretty damn close, right?
Yeah.
So could that have occurred during the initial backfill of the building, and then they framed up on top of a faulty wall?
Or whoever built the lead to begin with did it wrong, and they did this like that. I don't know.
And then they built it like that?
Well, they wouldn't have mud joints like this. See, the mud joints wouldn't. See, it's separated somehow. Cause see how the mud joints are like that?
It's almost like it was separated before
They built the wall.
They built the wall.
Yeah.
That's had to be. It makes no. There's no other way to do it that I can envision this
Right,
thing.
because you don't. Because for that to go out, your wall would be sitting like this.
The best that Franky and I can figure is that the garage foundation wall was actually pushed in before the garage was framed on top of it. Because if it had been pushed in altogether, that framed wall should have been bowed as well, and it wasn't. It was in okay condition. While Franky's inside getting the wall mudded, Alex goes to the outside and starts cutting down the grades to get everything to flow away from the buildings. Because we can't go over the sill plate of the garage or the house, we can't add soil near the garage foundation. What we've got to do is go away from the garage and start subtracting soil and cut in a swale. While Alex is working on those grades, Sam and Franky are inside tuck pointing and mudding. As he's tuck pointing, Franky's also using any extra concrete that he has left over to help core fill that corner and make it a little bit stronger. He keeps it extra wet so it'll work its way down through the core fill on its own.
Everyone,
With the wall backfilled with free draining aggregate and allowed to daylight on both ends, it still has to be clay capped. But instead of explaining it, let me just show you what I mean. clay cap it. So we put the native soils, which are high in clay. This is clay, holds together, retains moisture only on the top. About 12 inches or so. Is that what you'd say you put in, Alex? Or
About 12 inches.
perfect, perfect. And what that does is any water that sheds doesn't tend to rush right through, but runs off, and the water that does tend to stick will go through, hit the non-permeable zone, and run out. So we've created a strategy that just keeps the most water away. So it becomes a process of adding and subtracting. We add the good clay-based soil that we want, while we subtract the wetter, nastier clay-based soil and get that away from the building foundation. An easy rule to use to know how far away to stay from the foundation wall is the 1-to-1 rule. If the foundation wall is 8 foot tall, he should stay 8 feet away from that foundation wall perpendicularly. Now he can get his bucket closer horizontally than that, but driving sideways along that foundation wall should be kept further away. Now the wall he's working on is 3 foot, so that means he can go just outside of the eaves safely without jeopardizing that foundation wall. While Alex and Sam are touching up the grades with a rake, Frankie is inside wrapping up the mudding on the walls.
All right, end of the day. Got this all filled in along here.
Now the boys have regraded to get all of the water to shed away from the buildings, but we're going to go backwards one day. One of the questions that came up was, won't that green treated timber that you buried just rot away? And what I've learned through talking with soil engineers is that when you bury a green treated timber, it encapsulates it and actually slows down the decay process. A green treated timber like that will last a lot longer being completely buried underground than if the same timber were just sitting above ground. But let's go inside the garage and see how Frankie's doing.
And Frankie's got all of his stuff inside here wrapped up, so.
So we'll be back tomorrow to do the final touch-up work, clean up this job site, and then Frankie's off to a new position. He's actually taking over our lawn care division. So we're going to take you on that ride. God bless, and go get him, you guys.